Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our discussion. Today we are talking about a topic that many schools, teachers, parents, and students are thinking about. Should students be allowed to use their mobile phones during class time? It's a question with strong opinions on both sides. Technology is a big part of our lives, but how does it fit into the classroom? To help us understand the different views, we have two experienced teachers with us today. First, we have Mr. Chen, a technology teacher who believes phones can be useful tools for learning when used correctly. Welcome, Mr. Chen.
Thank you for having me, Ms. Evans. I'm happy to be here.
And second, we have Mrs. Jenkins, a history teacher who has concerns about phones in the classroom and thinks they should be kept away during lessons. Welcome, Mrs. Jenkins.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. It's an important discussion.
Our format today will be simple. First, Mr. Chen and Mrs. Jenkins will each give an opening statement explaining their main points. After that, we will have 2 rounds of discussion where they can respond to each other and answer some questions. Finally, they will each have a chance to give a short closing statement. We want to have a respectful conversation, listening carefully to both perspectives. Let's begin with the opening statements. Mr. Chen, would you please start?
Certainly, Ms. Evans. Thank you. I believe that mobile phones, when used thoughtfully, can be very helpful educational tools in our classrooms. We live in a digital age. Technology is everywhere, and our students are growing up with it. Banning phones completely from classrooms feels like ignoring the world outside school. My first point is about access to information. Phones give students instant access to a huge amount of information online. If a question comes up in class, or if a student wants to know more about a topic, they can quickly search for answers, definitions, or examples. For example, if we are discussing a historical event, students can find maps, pictures, or short articles right away. This makes learning more active and interesting. My second point is about educational resources. There are many excellent educational apps, websites, and online tools available on phones. Students can use apps for learning languages, practicing math problems, watching science videos, or reading digital books. Phones can support different learning styles. Some students learn better by seeing things visually, others by interacting with information. Phones can offer these different ways to learn. My third point is about preparing students for the future. Knowing how to use technology responsibly and effectively is an essential skill for modern life and future jobs. Using phones for learning tasks in the classroom helps students develop these digital skills. They learn how to find good information, use online tools, and communicate digitally. I understand the concerns about distraction. Of course, we need clear rules. Teachers should decide when and how phones can be used for learning activities. It's not about allowing phones all the time for any purpose. It's about guiding students to use these powerful tools in a positive way. Banning them completely means we lose these learning opportunities. We should teach students responsibility, not just remove the technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chen, for outlining the potential benefits. Now let's hear the opposing view. Mrs. Jenkins, please share your opening statement.
Thank you, Ms. Evans and Mr. Chen. While I understand the points about technology, I strongly believe that mobile phones do not belong in the classroom during lesson time. My main concern is that phones are a major source of distraction, and they seriously disrupt the learning environment. My first argument is simple: distraction. Let's be honest. When students have phones in class, most are not using them to look up historical facts. They are checking social media, sending messages to friends, playing games, or watching videos. Even a quick check takes their attention away from the lesson and the teacher. Learning requires focus and concentration. Phones make it very difficult for students to stay focused on the task at hand. It's hard for teachers to compete with the entertainment on a phone. My second argument is about fairness, or what some call the digital divide. Not every student has the latest smartphone, or even a smartphone at all. If we make phones part of lessons, students without suitable devices are left behind. This creates inequality in the classroom. School should be a place where all students have equal opportunities. Relying on personal devices makes learning dependent on family income, which is not fair. My third argument concerns misuse. Phones in the classroom open the door to problems like cheating. It's easy for students to quickly search for answers during a test, or take photos of test questions to share with others. This makes assessment unfair and meaningless. Furthermore, phones can unfortunately be used for cyberbullying. Students might take photos or videos of classmates without permission, or send unkind messages during class time. This creates a negative and unsafe atmosphere, which is terrible for learning and well-being. My final point is about the importance of developing focus and attention skills. In a world full of digital distractions, school should be a place where students learn to concentrate for longer periods. Traditional teaching methods, discussions, and focused individual work help build these important skills. Constant access to phones works against this goal. Therefore, I believe the classroom is for learning, and phones should be kept away during lessons to ensure focus, fairness, and safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Jenkins, for presenting the challenges and risks. We now have a clear picture of the two main perspectives. Let's move into our first discussion round. The focus here is on phones as learning tools versus sources of distraction. Mr. Chen, you mentioned phones for quick information access and educational apps. Mrs. Jenkins argued that students primarily use them for non-educational purposes. Mr. Chen, how can teachers ensure that phones are actually used for learning, as you described, and not just for games or social media?
That's a very important question. It requires active teaching and clear structure. We cannot just say, okay, use your phones. Teachers need to design specific tasks where the phone is necessary or clearly helpful. For example, use your phone to find 3 facts about the Amazon rainforest, or use this specific language app for the next 10 minutes. The use should be purposeful and limited in time. It's about integrating the tool for a specific learning goal, not allowing constant access. Also, teachers can walk around the classroom and monitor student activity. When students know the task is specific and checked, they are more likely to stay on task. We can also use classroom management tools or apps that help guide students to the correct websites or applications. It's about teaching responsible use, just like we teach them to use library books or lab equipment correctly.
Mrs. Jenkins, what are your thoughts on Mr. Chen's suggestions for guided use? Do you think that's realistic in a typical classroom with maybe 25 or 30 students?
With all due respect, Mr. Chen, I find that view very optimistic. Monitoring 30 students on their individual screens is incredibly difficult. A student can quickly switch from an educational website to a game or a chat app in a second. The teacher cannot possibly see every screen at every moment. Even with specific tasks, the temptation is always there. The phone itself, the notifications, the constant connection to the outside world, it pulls their attention away. I have seen it happen. You set a research task, and within minutes, several students are messaging each other or scrolling through social media feeds hidden behind their books or under the desk. It forces the teacher to become a, quote, phone police officer instead of focusing on teaching and helping students who need support. And what about the students who actually trying to focus? The constant presence of phones, even if supposedly for learning, creates a distracting atmosphere for everyone.
Mr. Chen, how do you respond to the practical difficulty of monitoring and the argument that phones inherently disrupt focus?
I acknowledge the challenge, Mrs. Jenkins. It's not easy. But challenges in education often require us to adapt and find solutions, not just prohibit things. Perhaps the solution isn't constant individual monitoring, but creating a classroom culture where responsible use is expected and valued. This takes time and consistent effort. We can have clear consequences for misuse during designated phone learning time. We can also teach students why focus is important and how to manage their own distractions. Think about other potential distractions. Talking to neighbors, looking out the window. We manage those through classroom rules and expectations. Phone use can be managed similarly. Also, phones can actually increase engagement for some students. Using a tool they are familiar with and find interesting can make learning activities more appealing than a traditional worksheet. It allows for differentiation. Students can work at their own pace on an app, or explore topics that interest them more deeply online.
But Mr. Chen, isn't the type of engagement with a phone very different from deep concentration? Scrolling and clicking gives quick rewards, but does it build the patience needed for complex learning? I worry that we are training students for short attention spans. Learning history, for example, requires reading longer texts, thinking critically, and discussing ideas, activities that phones often interrupt. Surely there are times when we need a completely tech-free environment to encourage that deeper thinking.
I agree that there are times for tech-free learning, absolutely. I am not suggesting phones should be used in every lesson, all day long. It's about balance. There's a time for focused reading, a time for group discussion, and potentially a time for using digital tools effectively. The key is the teacher's judgment and the specific learning objective. If the goal is deep reading and analysis, phones should probably be put away. But if the goal is quick research, accessing a simulation, or using a specific learning program, the phone can be the best tool for the job. It's not all or nothing. It's about choosing the right tool for the task and teaching students how to switch between different modes of learning, including focused, tech-free work.
This balance sounds good in theory, but my experience suggests the quote phone mode tends to take over easily. The distraction is powerful.
It seems we agree that distraction is a key issue, but differ on whether it can be effectively managed. Let's move to our second discussion round, focusing on equity, safety, and rules. Mrs. Jenkins, you raised the issue of fairness, the digital divide. If some students don't have smartphones, how can using personal devices in class ever be truly fair?
Exactly. It immediately creates two groups, the haves and the have-nots. The students with the newest phones might have access to better apps or faster internet. Students with older phones, or no phone, cannot participate equally in activities requiring them. This can make them feel embarrassed or left out. School resources, like textbooks or school computers, are provided to ensure everyone has the same basic tools. Relying on personal phones goes against this principle. A simple solution is to not require personal phones for lessons. If technology is needed, the school should provide it, like a set of tablets or laptops for classroom use. That way, everyone has access to the same device and the same opportunities during that specific activity.
Mr. Chen, how would you address this fairness issue? And related to that, what about Mrs. Jenkins' concerns about misuse like cheating and cyberbullying?
Mrs. Jenkins makes a valid point about equity. Relying solely on personal devices isn't ideal. I agree that schools should work towards providing devices like tablets or Chromebooks for tasks that require them. This ensures equal access. However, many schools don't have enough devices for every student yet. In the meantime, we can design activities flexibly. For example, students could work in pairs or small groups, sharing one device for a quick search or activity. Or, the teacher could provide alternative non-digital ways to complete the task. The goal isn't to force every student to use their personal phone, but to leverage the technology available when it enhances learning, while being mindful of equity. Regarding cheating and cyberbullying, these are serious issues, but they are not caused solely by phones in the classroom. They are behavioral issues. Students can cheat using notes on paper, or bully others in the hallways. Banning phones in class doesn't eliminate these problems entirely. Instead of just banning the tool, we need to focus on teaching digital citizenship. This means teaching students about online safety, responsible communication, academic honesty, and respecting others online. This education is crucial for their lives outside school too. The classroom is a controlled environment where we can guide them on these issues. We need clear rules about phone use during tests. Perhaps phones must be collected or put in bags at the front. For cyberbullying, schools need strong policies and consequences, regardless of where it happens.
But teaching digital citizenship sounds like another job for already busy teachers. And while bullying happens elsewhere, having phones readily available in class makes impulsive, unkind actions easier. Taking a quick, embarrassing photo or sending a mean message can happen in an instant during a lesson. Why add this risk to the classroom environment? A clear ban during lesson time simplifies everything. No phones means no phone-related cheating during lessons, no cyberbullying during lessons, no arguments about which apps are allowed. It makes the rules clear and easy for everyone to follow and for teachers to enforce. Simple rules are often the most effective.
Simpler perhaps, but does it prepare students for reality? They will have phones outside class, at university, in their jobs. Isn't it better to learn self-control and responsible use in a structured environment with guidance, rather than facing it all at once later without practice? Learning to follow rules, even complex ones about asterisk when and asterisk how to use a tool, is part of education itself. It teaches self-regulation. Regarding digital citizenship, yes, it takes time, but it's essential education today. It can be integrated into existing subjects like IT, health education, or even English and social studies. We teach road safety. We should teach internet safety and responsibility with the same seriousness.
But the primary role of school is academic learning. While digital citizenship is important, managing phone use takes away valuable time from teaching core subjects like math, science, and history. Every minute spent dealing with a phone issue, checking usage, confiscating a device, discussing rules, is a minute lost from instruction. A ban allows teachers to focus entirely on teaching their subject matter, which is what they are there to do.
But learning how to learn in the 21st century involves using digital tools effectively. Isn't that also part of academic learning now? Finding reliable information online, evaluating sources, using productivity apps, these are academic skills too. Phones can be gateways to developing these skills, if guided properly. We are preparing students for a world where these skills are assumed. Ignoring phones feels like teaching students about horseshoes when cars exist.
That is a strong comparison, Mr. Chen. It seems the core disagreement remains on whether the benefits of integration outweigh the significant challenges of distraction, equity, and misuse. We are nearing the end of our discussion time. Let's move to the closing statements. Each of you will have a moment to summarize your position. Mrs. Jenkins, would you please give your closing statement first?
Thank you. Throughout this discussion, my position remains firm. Mobile phones should not be allowed during class time. They are, first and foremost, powerful distraction machines that pull students away from learning and interacting with their teacher and peers. Relying on personal phones creates an unfair environment for students who cannot afford them. It also introduces serious risks of cheating and cyberbullying right into the classroom. While managing phone use with rules sounds possible, in reality, it is extremely difficult for teachers and takes valuable time away from instruction. Class time is precious. It should be dedicated to focused learning, critical thinking, and developing concentration skills, all things that phones tend to undermine. Keeping phones out of the classroom creates a simpler, fairer, safer, and more focused learning environment for everyone. Let's protect this valuable space. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Jenkins. Now, Mr. Chen, please provide your closing statement.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. I believe we must embrace the reality that mobile phones are integral parts of our students' lives and the modern world. Banning them from the classroom ignores their potential as powerful learning tools. Phones offer instant access to information, diverse educational resources, and ways to engage students differently. Learning to use this technology effectively and responsibly is a vital skill for students' futures. The classroom is the ideal place to teach these digital literacy and citizenship skills under guidance. Yes, there are challenges: distraction, equity, potential misuse. But these challenges can be addressed with clear rules, specific task design, teaching responsibility, and investing in school resources. Banning phones is the easy way out, but it doesn't serve our students in the long run. Education must evolve with the times. Let's teach our students how to manage these tools, how to use them for good, and how to balance their digital lives with focused work. Let's integrate phones thoughtfully, not fearfully. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chen, and thank you again, Mrs. Jenkins, for a thoughtful and detailed discussion. You have both presented compelling arguments on this complex issue. We've heard about the potential for phones to enhance learning and build digital skills, weighed against the significant risks of distraction, inequality, and misuse. The core question seems to be whether schools should manage these risks through rules and education, or avoid them through prohibition. There is clearly no single easy answer that fits every school or classroom. We hope this conversation has given our listeners plenty to think